A typical camping day for Zack and his friends turns into a disaster when he ventures into the woods to fetch some firewood for the group. The isekai gods believed that this man ought to suffer, so they imported his ass into a multiversal system. The blue screen of isekai greets him, while he wonders whether there was some type of narcotic mixed in those damn brownies he had earlier. Calling out to his buddies didn't help until a sudden system problem occurred, prompting him to roll a dice to save his life. He was partnered against the Nine-Tails terrible monster, but luckily the system intervened and allowed him to wager a chance on a dice roll instead of battling for his life and getting crushed. The highest rolling individual would win, except our boy's odds are 1 to 100, while the creature gets up to 100,000 as the upper limit. The odds are quite literally stacked against him, yet ultimately Zachary rolls the dice, grinding the digits out. The good thing? He scores a high roll of 96, almost as high as his luck shall take him. But it doesn't really matter, since on the other side, the godlike monster can go up to 100,000 and simply erase him from reality. Zack feels it's game over and bids farewell to his family, knowing he's about to lose everything because of one terrible dice throw. Instead of sulking to decide his fate, he counts on the prospect of taking the win, and as luck would have it, the monster scores a meager 91 only. The high roll of our boy wins, bringing the downfall of the all-powerful entity before him, absorbing its abilities directly into Zack's own body. This forces a bunch of level-up sequences all at once, and the next time he wakes up, our boy is back to the same woodland. He doesn't grasp what happened, however he knows he has to return to his pals shortly. One tiny issue: everything about this facility is messed up, the whole environment is changed, and the system informs him that the world will terraform to unite with the multiverse. Zack still thinks he's imagining one bad dream, however he gathers himself and finds the RV, assuming that he has finally made it to his pals. He tried screaming out to them, but nothing worked. His friends weren't there, but one evil dog was munching on their goods. This extraordinarily deadly beast swiftly locked eyes with the victim, before announcing, the creature lunged with terrifying speeds to slaughter the human. But Zack's first impulse wasn't to run. This man grabs the axe and dices the creature's chest, even getting injured on his shoulder. The beast strikes the earth with a heavy crash, leaving him pondering how he's gotten so much stronger. It's coming back to him, the system and the creature he saw, as well as the dice roll for their life. He still depends on the hope that maybe his buddies are alive, yet he's unable to find them. The demonic dog retaliates for a second assault, this time charging with a tremendous claw. Zack ends up evading the creature's fury, leading it to crash into the RV. Though the monster has incredible speed, it has terrible movement, which underlines the plan he has to follow and how to fight it. Zack travels around and asks the creature to tail him. The demonic dog roars and pursues after him in the forest, striking multiple bends because of its horrible maneuverability. However, even as fast as he can sprint, Zack ends up stopping just ahead of a few boulders. Now he's anticipating the monster to run swiftly. Our boy's body shudders, but don't mistake it for the fear of death or anything. Instead, this individual is armed with seething depths of incomprehensible hatred. The monster hounds its way to him, and in a key moment, Zack evades its lunge, forcing the thing to slam into the boulders. The crash harmed it, but still didn't take it down. That's when Zack comes around from its blind spot, cleaving his axe clean into the beast's spine, breaking upon impact. This fight means absolutely little to him compared to the odds he faced earlier, and so the monster is slaughtered with dozens of slashes, making it look that this man is the embodiment of death. The first kill grants him 100 Nexus coins, proving the creature's demise. Zack manages his way back to the RV, blood flowing down from his every step. Things are looking awful, but even when he returns to the RV, no one is there to welcome him, leaving his body so weak that he slips unconscious just in front of the vehicle. The next time our boy opens his eyes, Zack is comforted by the sunlight of not just one, but 2 suns. He wakes up with the same kind of headache that I get when I read a foolish remark on Twitter. My buddy glances at his hands, noticing that he's covered with spills of blood. To acquire some form of control over present reality, he reaches for his phone to check his time, fidgeting with his phone screen. Oh, but here's another stunner that leaves Zachary stunned. My man realizes that he was impacted by the isekai protagonist's curse, and got knocked unconscious by the typical 3-day coma that occurs in every story. That aside, Zack is extremely anxious about the location of his buddies, most especially his girlfriend Hannah, because maybe some good old cheeks are the salvation in this messed up world full of monsters for him, but you didn't hear that. He stitched himself up and hasn't seen or heard a sign from one of his friends from the past 3 days. Even their luggage stays undamaged here. Worst comes to worst, Zack prepares himself mentally that if his pals haven't come back yet, then the only logical conclusion is that they're probably not going to return. Questions baffle his thoughts. He doesn't even know how to think about where he's at. Outside, he observes an interesting alteration. The wounds of his body have already fostered back to full health, and even though Bro should be dead from the blood loss by now, he's chilling, kicking sticks and pebbles. The riddle of his abrupt transmigration baffles him. He's left all alone in the woods without any type of phone service. The car can't help him because the battery's cooked too. Zack reaches for the trees to climb his way up. His horrible incident with the creature still haunts him. I mean, picture getting crap on by a beast on day one. Bro doesn't even know what his offense is, or if he's on some kind of foreign world, or if the aliens are the ones invading Earth instead. His Levi Ackerman-looking ass is anxious about the state of the rest of the planet. Most notably precious figures in his family like his dad or his sister Mackenzie. The relationships he shares with the people are his reason to keep trying and find a way to just go back home somehow. Zack climbs up the branch, retaining his foothold and utilizing the axe as a leverage. When he eventually climbs up, his expression displays apparent amazement. Even at a position as high as this, the only thing Bro sees is an infinite forest with mountains surrounding it. The red pillar of light may seem like a major thing, but an even greater deal is the fact that this spot is surrounded by an ocean, which means Bro is imprisoned on an island, and this isn't a Mr. Beast challenge where he's going to receive $1 bazillion for leaving it either. Walmart Levi is outraged on the behalf of the human race, yelling at the system for ruining everything in his life. But that's also the trick you witness. At the moment he asked for the system, a blue screen emerged with a title, Born for Carnage. This title improves all his stats by 10%. However, there are also other titles like Ultimate Reaper for enhancing his numbers by another 10%. In 5 points base, Luck of the Draw grants him luck stats. Giantsbane awards him for taking on a tougher threat. Disciple of David, Overpowered, and Slayer of Leviathans are virtually all the same, meaning that he bested a monster at least 50 levels stronger than his own. Long story short, Bro got lucky and took out a highly powerful monster as his first kill. Zack is confused as heck, doubting if the screen with lettering highlighting his name is actually his own. The guy's stat sheet reveals that he's a human with Earth alignment, with various free stats and Mexus coins accessible. There's a lot of essential information here, but one thing's for damn certain, the world has transformed into some kind of fucked up video game with actual stakes. What's noteworthy to observe is that he's already level 16, a position he undoubtedly acquired because to the dice roll incident. Most of the improved stats he has are all thanks to the titles he received for his first kill, and at the moment, one of the ongoing missions he has is to reach level 25 to unlock a class among numerous others like Murder and 4 Heralds and the Incursion General. Overall, he's stuck with some form of spawn and outpost protection scheme. Basically, Bro's gotta secure his base, and he's guessing that the red pillar of light signifies the incursion the system is talking about. He still doesn't comprehend what the outpost is, but the system asks whether he's ready to establish his first outpost. Immediately, Zack decides that it must imply some kind of base, a place that he would like calling home, instead of the nasty remains of the camping trip he's had left. After all, an RV isn't going to make it in this godforsaken hellhole of a monster forest. What would you people do if you were in his position without the system? Comment and let me know. Zack acknowledges the building of the outpost, and at once the blue screen fades. Something magical happens actually. Bro's a little perplexed because the system labels this spot as his outpost, but then a voice takes him off guard. Just up top is some kind of ghostly creature with one eye, questioning what he's up to. Activating kill mode, Zack gets his axe and is prepared to hack this creature down. To his horror, he discovers that the voice isn't coming from a human, but in that time, Bro hastily slips from the branch, while the spirit expresses its own disappointment for running into a human. Wow, the first non-violent creature we meet, and it's already out here being racist. Anyway, our boy's ready to go down. He clutches onto something, but from the scales, I guess we all know what he grabbed. Bro experiences tremendous dread the moment he learns that he took a grip of a gigantic snake's body. He'd only let his guard down for a single time, and already he's in trouble. Zack's right arm is entangled, giving him very minimal time to respond. He curses his destiny, because on the other side, a terrible snake with gaping teeth is looking down its next victim. The same snake quickly tangles over his complete body, making sure he doesn't have any window to escape. Zack recognizes that he's in a world that appears like a computer game, that he just can't afford to relax his guard anymore. Well, the next moment might not even happen, because he's getting crushed by this snake, like it's some kind of evil ex-girlfriend. Even now, instead of giving up, our boy realizes that if he has to develop stronger and live, he needs to take bigger risks. Channeling the spirit of an entrepreneur, Bro grabs the snake squarely by its head, before tightening his hold so firmly that he physically breaks this thing's head out. This is a statement for Zack. His everlasting declaration for survival. But Bro's luck really might be bad, because the tree branch enters up shattering in that time, leading both him and this limp noodle pal to plummet down. The human understands the Sung Jin Woo manner. This method always favors the hunters. Power is everything. Cha Hain is a wifey, and therefore nothing else matters. That's the only mentality he needs to survive, the only method that he'll become the strongest. So Zack puts every single point into juicing the crap out of the snake, and making sure it hits face first into the earth. Watching the situation unfold from above, the Spectre is a bit saddened, thinking that the human never really stood a chance in a huge environment like this. As he's drifting away, he comments on how an outpost certainly would have aided the human's chances, but then again, it confuses him why this human selected a foolish tree for an outpost. The same monster has supported numerous different races and civilizations over its life. Humans always underperformed in all of them. The idea of a treehouse is the most ridiculous one of them. Bros out here bashing on our type. Fuck you too, floating eyeball. As for our boy, Zack's axe is cutting and dicing everything up. The Spectre returns to the scene and discovers this very same human breaking apart the snake's body, and Bro's solitary eyeball is astonished, for the man standing before him has practically crafted massacre sushi out of the serpent. Must be those Levi Ackerman genes. In his kill mode, Zack turns back to target the Spectre, spooking him out. The floating spirit is now impressed, recognizing that it made a fatal mistake in underestimating this man's titanium balls. Zack glares at him down, while the spirit identifies itself as Veth Abarak, or in simplified terms, Abby. She's actually sent here to aid the human for his outpost location, and to react properly, our boy introduces himself and queries what assisting him even implies. The spirit is a little upset that this clown didn't even listen to the tutorial. Abby reveals that an assistant was automatically given to him when he chose the position as his outpost. Zack expresses his annoyance that he didn't get a freaking lesson from the system to begin with. Instead, Bro was automatically transferred to this hellhole woodland 3 days back. Abby is startled that he didn't even get to check the tutorial. But what shocks this spirit the most is that this man only came here 3 days back instead of months. Zack clarifies that it's actually been 3 days, which puts things into perspective and sets Abby thinking. This makes the spirit question whether it's been assigned to some type of defier, which is yet another concept that our boy has no knowledge of. Abby recognizes that he's utterly puzzled right now, since he was never even given an explanation. Long story short, Earth has been merged into the broader multiverse. Countless other planets have already existed in this collective multiverse for billions, and the people of Earth are increasingly being transported to tutorial cities to study and get along with the multiverse. It's also here where Zack discovers that his family might be doing just okay, because if they're in the tutorial town, then they're safe. At the same time, Abby clarifies that there's a fraction of people that just can't receive cosmic energy naturally. Those people are sure to get torn apart and slain by monsters eventually. Any mortal incapable of cultivation is going to be eaten by the deadly environment established by the system. Finally, Zack questions about the function of defiers, questioning if his fate is one where he is destined to die. The spirit explains that defiers are only mortals with achieved power beyond the usual expectation. Traditionally, the system expects this individual to be weak, so it leaves the human to die a natural death. But if someone can invert their fate and outperform the odds, they essentially fight their destiny to die. In other words, this is the strength of defiance. But for someone like Zack, his situation is in an entirely different league, even in his own class. Though he's been offered an incredible opportunity, things won't always appear easy for him. Our boy's a little ticked because he wouldn't exactly call betting his life on a dice roll an easy opportunity. Regardless, Abby believes that the voice of the universe counts eventually more in the grand scheme of the universe. And it does highlight one thing. The system absolutely despises cowards the most. In other words, any possibility that turns Zack into a failure will result in complete punishment. Long story short, our boy is hearing that he'll be required to complete those tasks, fight those demons, and the worst part, he doesn't even get a say in the situation. The ghost informs him that it's how reality is when he's charged by the system, and that he'll be followed closely till further ado. Looking around for any stalkers, Abby offers a vital hint that Zack will benefit a lot if he completes the tasks in a single month instead of 3. Right before it's about to divulge the contents of the reward, the spirit is forcibly ejected out of the location, giving Zack alarm. The system message says that it revoked Abby's access significantly sooner than it should have, which means this system is continuously listening to everything. Though shell-shocked, our guy prepares himself to fulfill all those quests within a span of 1 month. The setting effortlessly transitions to an aristocratic party. A man with demonic horns is observing, with minor irritation up top. His partner for the night, a stunning woman in red, comments on his displeasure, asking ogres to grin for a day of celebration. But he doesn't have any cause to smile, Not even after the fact that he's just been named the incursion general. It's the ultimate honor of any clan. But what Ogres is most unsatisfied about is that he didn't get to kill to gain the title. He glances down a certain dude with gorgeous long hair staring back at him. The woman proposes that he perhaps ready himself to fight instead of wasting time playing around at the club. Ogres taunts Alea for not knowing him any better. After all, he's never going to be battling these guys straight on. He just wants his foes to have the illusion of control while he puppeteers the strings. Because you see, the instant one of these guys drinks the wine, poison immediately takes over their system, paralyzing them, King Joffrey style, and giving an extremely terrible death. One woman swiftly dashes over to ask who the hell is responsible for all of this, demanding why no one is even coming to help this man. Having spilled this man's blood, Ogres takes a dark path. Gro plans to become the next Light Yagami by making it look like his adversaries killed themselves. Back to the scene of the forest, we find a monster drinking from the beautiful stream. While it's chilling out here, the monster suddenly spots a small butterfly-type bug that rests atop its snout. The sight is cute, and it appears like these men are going to become friends soon. But then suddenly the monster detects something approaching from behind, and turns back. The moment it returns to face ahead, our boy seizes the initiative and swings his big axe squarely into its spine, an instant one-hit death. With this, he obtains the title of the Demon Slayer. Muzan's arrival was spectacular, by the way. This title offers him a 3% stat raise for battling any demonic creatures, but luckily Zach's got his fill for the day. What's notable is that the system doesn't make the concept of leveling up easy. All he gets are stat points to help advance himself to the next level. Yet even after reaching level 17, he hasn't deployed any of his 32 free points to any of his stats. At first, he wants to be reluctant and wait till he can figure out a strategy to use them effectively. But then, the fight against the big snake humiliated Zach, and he understands that he can't hold back on any advantage right now. Taking the initiative himself, he believes his best hope is to enhance his numbers, or at least the ones that will undoubtedly provide him a big edge in the present, rather than later. According to his perspective, he spends 10 on strength buffs, 6 on dexterity, 5 on endurance, and 11 on his life. Waiting for later is a futile attitude, because in this risky context, later won't even come for him. With 25 days until the end of the month, our boy wonders if he should really rely on Abby's intel to achieve the impossible. He can sense that the Spectre must have at least offered that counsel for some other purpose, and that advantage must have been so tremendous that even the system couldn't afford to let Abby go for it. Zach forms an assessment. He feels that completing the tasks in 1 month can lead to the discovery of a special reward. It's either that, or the status of things will get considerably difficult after month 1, providing him the incentive to act now. Instead of being doomed about his circumstance, our boy recognizes that he's got a chance that no one else does from the tutorial stage to grasp the advantage. Drinking water from the stream, he decides himself not to waste this opportunity. So he takes his battle axe from the body and equips up for his next mission. Oh, and by the way, remember that insect from earlier? It comes around to feast on the creature's flesh, which is quite gloomy if you ask me. Night falls by the next time we see our boy. He's sitting close to the fire, preparing some good old monster meat for dinner. From the looks of things, Zach figures that most of the titles he got were simply because of the fact that he was the first person to do a given thing in this planet. First person to kill a monster, first person to solo kill an incursion general, and the slayer of leviathans are indicative of that. Writing on the chewy flesh, he comments on how bizarre it is that he didn't acquire anything when he founded the outpost. In other words, there are other people out there that constructed the outpost before him, other people who are also defiers that aren't in the lesson. For example, the snake he fought earlier became strong so fast, which indicates humans separate from him could possibly be incredibly powerful already. A nerdy loser could end up becoming the next Mr. Olympia contender. Zach is of the belief that there has to be at least something in the outpost shop section to help him get stronger, or at least help him make his way to his family. All purchasable stuff seem to pop up next to Nexus money, and he earns approximately 100 for every kill based on the monsters he's hunted. Taking another mouthful, our boy finds it fascinating that there's also some kind of teleporter device in the shop. Gulping down his food, optimism loomed over him. Perhaps with this equipment, he might forcibly teleport himself to his family or the other way around. The notion sounds pretty amazing as long as he can get off this ridiculous island. Unfortunately, here's the awful part. The teleporter costs a stunning 10 million Nexus coins, and that rapidly smashes Bro's expectations. He can't even kill that many demon dogs to collect all that money, so he needs to cultivate a speedier way. But then there are also the active quests he's got. Zach recognizes that there's a lot of valuable goods in the shop, and if he can simply buy something very strong right soon, things will work out great for him. That's why he's interested in taking on the quests to improve his outpost levels and unlock a class. However, when it comes to spending points, our boy recognizes that he can't precisely stockpile either Nexus points or the stats. He has to be proactive about the circumstance and spend them in the present to increase his immediate success. From his investigations, he located two notable areas he could afford. The first were the skills, specifically being the Eye of Discernment, that costs 3,000 coins to basically learn information about other animals. In other terms, it's an appraisal skill to aid him kill creatures. However, the first time bro uses it, he gets a terribly awful headache. The other thing he could afford was an item. It's an F-grade gadget named the Mother-Daughter Small-Scale Gathering Array. And yeah, you heard it right. The awful name is truly that damn long. This gadget also costs the same amount and allows the wearer to absorb one demonic dog's worth of cosmic energy per 24 hours. In other words, he'll be getting energy passively too, while sleeping. And though he's not a proper cultivator, bro is out here flexing and taking their powers. The mediation section is so boring that bro's already done and gets up to go and kill more things along the road. After that, Zach began dedicating practically all of his time just hunting. Sometimes he would ambush and butcher demonic hounds. But the more he hunted them, the more they got easy to kill. When he couldn't hunt them correctly, he still didn't have much difficulty defeating them. Each meeting taught him more than the previous. Zach examined their traces and found how to locate them. Better yet, this man started flipping like a Beyblade and controlled his axe significantly better. Bro even learned how to parry and deflect some attacks. Paired with his Eye of Discernment ocular talent, he learned their classification as Barghest's monsters. To make sure he never felt in danger, he intentionally left around various different supplies and secret portions throughout the island, allowing him to continue to survive just in case he found it difficult to return. Hunting continued with Zach hauling each corpse back to base, before going further into the field to kill some more. Fights weren't always easy. He found himself injured and bled countless times, till the day came where the number of his killings had easily increased up to hundreds. However, the more he leveled up, the more difficult it became to continue his development. And still, his powers developed with no end, until his whole mentality started perceiving the Barghests as not predators, but merely a bunch of prey. Zach has reached level 23, but he recognizes that speeding up the pace is important. His stats are all greatly enhanced, but only 5 days remain until the first month finishes. Let's walk over to the different side, the section where the incursion demons reside. Ogress meets an expected guest, Rydell, and the incursion general is pleased to ask how the preparations for the event are doing. Rydell gets annoyed, indicating that this man should already know about that, as he'd already seen the reports. Finding no sense of shame in his acts, Ogress relents that it's exactly his own responsibility as a leader to assign a few chores to his second-in-command. In other words, Rydell has to bite the bullet. He commands the man to come closer and sit. Rydell refuses to sit down, until catching wine in his hand, and questioning if Ogress can afford to be drunk just now. The leader whispers in frustration that people keep asking that dumb question, when he doesn't really have anything to do. The incursion is going to take several weeks for his turn. Noticing his opportunity, Rydell grins ecstatically, and slides a letter, ushering him to sign it fast so he can return to his drinking excursion. Skimming the note, Ogress signs it casually, assuming it's an avocation for Kevron to enter the Master of Scouts. But that's the thing you see. This is Rydell's technique, since when he turns back, he's glad as ever to get the paper signed, assuring his master that he'll follow out his command. Ogress praises him a good man, even congratulating him for being reliable, as the door slams shut. Right after, Ogress carves up a wicked smile. He can't wait to be rid of this lair of Barghests in the few weeks to come. Back to the main perspective of our guy. Zach sees further trails from the ground, and finds his way to another demon dog napping close by. It's simply another day of hunting for him, especially when the monster hasn't seen him yet. Except, then it promptly makes direct eye contact with our boy, frightening him out of nowhere. Right when he's processing the shock of this monster observing him, the Barghest dog is slain by an even greater creature out of the blue. Zach is shitting bricks right now, because luckily, he didn't get spotted, but the monster out there is literally ripping the creature to shreds. Our boy ain't gonna challenge none of it. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to make a say in that option, because the alpha dog over here detects something hidden behind the bushes. The monster peeks into the place to check whether anything's there, but discovers nothing. That's because Zach is currently bolting with balls in his throat, thinking what the hell even is that thing? The size of that demonic dog is plainly significantly larger than every other, and if that's what he's got to kill, then bro's in deep trouble. Right now, he understands the safest choice is to return to camp, because this huge of a monster can't be taken out without a plan. Except, when our boy finally reached to his camp, he overhears a lot of monsters already chilling at the campfire. They seem to be murmuring their own language too. There's too many questions right now, but from the looks of things, the demon with wings on the right seems to be more clever than the hideous one on the left. The first suspicion Zack has is if the animals were purposefully brought here to target him and alert the others about his outpost's position. Hoping to find some answers, he pops the use of his ocular talent to infer information on them, knowing that one is an imp demon and the other is a kind of demon dog. Interestingly, the moment he employed this talent, both of them managed to identify his presence, putting our boy in danger. The four-eyed imp deviously smiles while fueling an energy assault. Zack's milliseconds away from getting hit. The imp's attack is going to consign our boy to hell, causing this father to attempt his best to deflect it with his axe. Oh, and by the way, he does manage to deflect it, which is starting to make me think this axe is secretly overpowered as hell. Right when Zack thought the coast was clear, the second monster, the hideous demon, seized on him. More energy beams touched our boy's shoulders, while the monster tackled him onto the ground. Zack has a weapon stuck in this ugly demon's jaws, before utilizing his own physical might to fling the ugly mongrel off his body. As for the fire that's burning his shoulder, Zack finds it incredibly difficult to get rid of it, since even though it made a tiny bit of contact against him, it felt like his very soul was being defeated by it. The imp calmly moves up to him, acting like the last boss, talking a language dude can't even understand. To make things worse, the other demon shatters his axe too. My guy is in a 2 versus 1 position, and he doesn't even have a weapon to spare. These may be some truly bad odds, but Zack thinks he can still beat them with the life he's been given. He's the one to seize the initiative by rushing full speed up to the demonic dog, while the imp throws more of its fire blasts to catch him from behind. Luckily, Zack evades all of them, bursting with extraordinary speeds till he can directly face the evil dog. The devil goes to attack him head-on, but this man is a completely different animal, and attacks the bitch like he's John Cena or some crap. The creature tries to attack him using its claws and tail, but despite the anguish our hero is enduring, he refuses to let go, and connects the slam into the earth. Now that he's got the advantage, Zack starts throwing haymakers left and right, making the beast regret ever meddling with him. The fists rated E for everyone are hitting the monster without mercy. Except that's exactly the problem. From now that Zack is held in one spot, the imp simply tosses a hot orb, making direct contact with his back, leaving him staggered. Zack's body slowly succumbs to the torment. Those flames flare from behind and overtake his spirit. He thinks this is the end of the line even for him, for in his vulnerable position, the demonic beast uses its tail to shoot for a devastating pointed finish. At that time, we're reminded of cosmic energy, the same energy acknowledged as the building block of the actual multiverse. Ever since the entrance of the system, ever since Zack had killed the first monster, he's held that cosmic energy. It accumulated within him, teaching him how to sense it and concentrate it, even teaching him the exact skill to utilize it. All this time, Zack only had to transform himself into the kind of guy who could harness the force of such energy. The piercing stroke reaches him, but instead of impaling his body, it bends and breaks on impact. You see, the current Zack is fueled by cosmic energy. His torso emanates an orange-purplish hue aura, while his hands release surging energy. He's enraged that they shattered his axe, while the imp is caught off guard by this abrupt development, forcing it to release thousands of fire blasts to make sure he can kill the human. But our boy's already on the go. He grabs the demon's tail and starts swinging it around as fast as possible, forcing it to stop all of the fire assaults with its own body. The present Zack is a true monster, and so their war proceeds in a slaughter between the two demons and the human. The fight is off-screened, because in the next scene, we are merely introduced to day 30th of the first month. A pair of bodies float dead, those being the corpses of the imp and the demonic beast. This implies that Zack won the war. He cuts some wood to construct a new foundation for his axe, and after polishing it, he reunites with his old weapon. Though he was hoping to reach level 25 and gain a class early on, he's still okay with the concept of battling the tasks before that goal. Zack is convinced that he mustn't slow down in his progress, not when he's come so far. The current system permits him to take larger risks for even better rewards, so this one also appears justified to him. As for this man's attire, Bro has officially blended in with the environment, looking ripped as hell on his way to murder his second herald. Let's move back to Ogre's side of things, who looks to have been busy with the month. Rydell admits that it's undoubtedly been stressful, though this is just the beginning of their difficulties, for after the gateway forms, they'll be cut from the rest of the clan. That's when their real labor actually begins. The two demons marvel at the lovely rift in space, while their followers loiter underneath. This army of demons is dying to pass over to the other side and cause havoc. The combat against the demonic boss monster starts off with our boy dodging the first stroke, only to get hit by the second and rolling over the ground. Black reclaims his equilibrium and fights Vul, a level 45 monster. The scene reminded him of his experience with his father. The youngster had gone fishing with him and learned that every animal had an attribute that made it special. The boy's father captured the fish before dragging it up top, remarking how fish were especially known for being slippery. However, unlike people, they don't employ traps, while humanity utilized spears in the prehistoric times as well. The speaker emphasized how animals aren't just caught because humans are stronger. Rather, it's because of the ability of humans to find stuff out that makes them special, their ability to adapt. So 2 hours before he confronted the creature, Zack formed his preparations and set a trap in the memory of his father. And right now, he's facing the beast that is meant to signify his demise. Even though he can't win this fight alone because of the level differential, even a single hit could prove to be lethal. After all, Zack intends to use his intelligence to his advantage. The monster claws its way to reach him, missing another attack, while he ensures that the beast doesn't get a clean hit on him. Using the powers of cosmic energy, Zack deals some vital blows that knock up even a monster as enormous as this. So far, he's gotten a knowledge of this energy and can manipulate it by channeling it into different limbs. This way, he stops some blows with ease, while improving his offensive capability as well. Zack isn't a cultivator, so he leads the monster in the same way that he led the previous demonic hound, with only enough cosmic energy to expend, every drop important. The monster destructively annihilates trees with a single hit, leaving our boy no opportunity for making any kind of error. Zack focused on what he can do in this circumstance, so he channels the cosmic energy in his legs next, before exploding with incredible strength and going for a counterattack. The counterattack is led with the swing of his cosmically charged axe, one that really makes direct contact with its head. The scene cuts back to the demonic group. The gap splits open more and larger. Ogros is inquisitive about Rydel's location, who looks to have already gone through the invasion portal. The commander addresses the general and prepares his men, and in a dramatic twist, discloses that the general won't be following through the portal. As if Ogros already anticipated this turn of events, he simply laughs at them. Back to our boy, he's running hot while almost burning out. His body is overdoing the impacts of cosmic energy, and it's shredding him from the inside. However, with the giant behemoth following after him, it's not like Bro has a choice either. He already finds the trap he planned in sight, so now there's only a few moments until he makes the incision. The monster rages on, closing in the distance between the two. Zack extends his hand and finds the trap. The monster is just about to bite him, but at that instant, he transfers explosive energy into his feet, bursting with amazing speeds to dodge the trap. With so much velocity, Vol finds it unable to halt itself, and ends up cheating directly into the trap. Our boy climbs up to see if it truly worked well, and it looks that the spikes penetrated the creature's belly, one even ripping apart its head. Vol is officially defeated, bringing an end to the high-level monster with its energy channeled over to our boy. Now Zack not only reaches level 25, but also completes one of the objectives, unlocking the class system for him. Joy takes over him, because it took him so much effort to finally get to this level. Bro insults the system, praising how he'd vanquished yet another monster. But then, his elation is dashed with horror hanging about, as from the shadows, another thing rises. But not just one, there are lots of them. The demonic dogs here are in groups, and they've just identified their next prey. Back to the demonic side, the rebellious group is the one who ends up on their knees, pleading for forgiveness. However, the new general spares them no such mercy, cutting their heads clean off. Ogris has killed all the wicked weeds from his gang, while his servant worries how long they'll keep doing this. Ogris instructs Namus to keep going until it's essential to stop, while Alia is startled that he's not even being liked to someone like her. This man doesn't want any of them to know about the scope of his plans. His goal is to have things in order and control. One of his minions crushes the throat of a traitor, demanding why he's ready to sacrifice the protection of the general's grandfather. Ogris is done fooling around with this backstabbing nightmare. He's sick of his own planet being the greatest risk to his own rule, and with everything settled up, all that's left for him is to go and meet the inhabitants himself. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, our MC keeps running for his life, while a horde of demons chases him like ravenous hounds. Tired and annoyed, he wonders why Abarak never called him about this. Killing a herald was not the hardest part, but once it died, every monster in the forest got lured to him. He starts running out of options, understanding his cosmic energy is soon to run empty. A huge chunk of it was already used up during his combat with the Herald earlier. He recognizes that there is no way he can escape this circumstance just by running anymore. The moment he stops down, one of the demons nearly shreds him apart. He is obliged to keep fighting while moving, even as his stamina starts to meet its maximum. Right then, he notices something vital. He regains a portion of cosmic energy every time a demon dies. That strikes an idea in his mind instantaneously. He knows he does not need to keep running anymore, because the only way to survive is to fight back. Turning back, he cuts down another demon and commits to a lengthy and grueling struggle. Meanwhile, in the demon area, Riddle orders his soldiers that they do not have any time to wait for ogres anymore. Since the general is not there, he takes leadership and tells Keverin to form a reconnaissance party. Their aim is to find out what caused the death of Urkos the Herald. Keverin nods and promises him it will be handled shortly. After that, Riddle moves on to strategizing ways to fortify their outposts. Right then, a messenger hurries in and says that there is movement inside the portal. Just a few seconds later, General Ogress comes with his group. The two lock eyes, appearing more like enemies than allies at that moment. Back on the island, Zack's body is covered with injuries, and his clothing are torn apart horribly. Completely weary, he carefully goes through the jungle, searching for his backup supplies. Behind him lies the carcasses of hundreds of demon hounds that were hunting him before. Soon, he finally reaches the tree where he stored his provisions earlier. He climbs up and settles on a branch, taking a time to relax his body. The serene sensation of protection, mixed with the soothing moonlight on his face, makes him drowsy, and he falls asleep without noticing. Half a day later, he wakes up to the sound of birds chirping around him. He feels shocked that the world did not end even after a full month passed since he came here. Still, a horrible life like this makes it feel like everything stopped the instant he was summoned. After that, he conceals his wounds and jumps down from the tree gently. He is shocked by how fast his body is recovering on its own. He still feels mentally fatigued, but the notion of choosing his class when he reaches home base propels him forward. Just then, the sound of a twig snapping informs him that someone is around. Sure enough, a red-haired demon scout is going through the neighborhood. Hiding in the woods, he is horrified to see a monster with horns for the first time in his life. He strains to accept that it is a real demon standing there. The demon speaks in a foreign language he cannot understand, but he plainly shouts the second herald's name after seeing the remains close. After finishing his inspection, the demon understands he needs to report back to General Ogress promptly. He seems excited, thinking he might receive a warrant for this finding, but Zack has other things in mind already. With a swift strike, he smacks the axe into the back of the man's head and knocks him out instantaneously. Then, without wasting time, he tosses the unconscious demon over his shoulder and brings him back to his base. Later that night, the devil is chained tightly to a chair with ropes, unable to move at all. To wake him up, Zack throws freezing cold water over his head without warning. The demon panics and starts shrieking in confusion the instant he wakes up. Annoyed, our boy resolves to shut him up in the simplest way possible. He presses the axe at his neck and introduces himself. Suddenly, the demon calls him human, demonstrating they can comprehend each other after all. So our hero begins probing him, asking if there are more of his sort assaulting the island. When he cuts the demon's wrist to force him to communicate, the man's body suddenly starts glowing crimson. A great burst of energy builds up inside him, and he swears that Zack shall burn in hell. Without warning, a tremendous explosion goes off directly in front of him. Luckily, our child manages to escape getting caught in the blast. He stares in horror as everything in the region turns to cinders. The insane lad actually used all his might to blow himself up instead of exposing his own kind. That incredible level of loyalty makes him realize he cannot treat these demons like other monsters anymore. Zack instantly hides in a tree, expecting additional demons to attack the area and examine the explosion. After waiting for a time, he finally relaxes and leaps back down next to where the monster blew up. Our boy looks at the charred ground and thinks that it is a waste, because the intruder literally bombed himself. It was an excellent chance to grab some nice items. During the explosion again, Zack regrets missing the opportunity, but he is still glad that at least he got a new axe out of it. His last one is completely done for. Anyway, he finally achieved level 25, and now he's ready to choose his class. But before he accomplishes that, he purchases an object that creates illusions and hides its owner in plain sight. A little cash box appears at his feet as he pulls out glowing shards from inside, laying them carefully around his camp, one by one. As soon as he lays the final shard, a massive purple barrier appears around the entire camp, wiping its presence away from any intruder's senses. He is at a loss for words at the tremendous magical potency of this object. It is as the camp was never there to begin with, and he's confident he will not be disturbed by random demons walking around anymore. With that, he opens up the menu and selects the prompt to start class selection. Just as he is getting enthusiastic about this moment, a large error notice suddenly flashes up, indicating that a Nexus node is necessary to start class selection. Seeing this, our boy loses it, raging at the system for being ridiculously greedy and throwing him blue balls. After fuming for a moment, he reluctantly accepts the offer to purchase a node with the 6,000 Nexus coins he had saved up over time. When he hits the yes button, a big stone with a glowing crystal at its core rises from the ground right in front of him. Our hero taps the enchanted table with his axe, and a new menu suddenly comes up in response. It reveals that there are 5 classes available to choose from, which quickly makes him feel like a kid in a candy store. From the alternatives provided, there is the fighter, equipped with strong melee weaponry. Then there's the acolyte, who specializes in magic and potions. The marine is a class competent in water-based combat. The demon hunter is a warrior-type class, proficient in detecting and eliminating enemy demons. Finally, there is the hatchman, a humble lumberjack who uses the forest itself as his weapon. Our boy studies through the possibilities, soon noticing that all of them are F grade, meaning every player begins from here. He also emphasizes that each class is upgradable, thus they all have secret potential to become powerful later on. After some serious study, he removes both the warrior and acolyte. They are rather simple compared to the more unusual options available. On top of that, he feels the hunter class would slow down his growth later, since it is solely good for demon hunting. The marine class is next on the blacklist, owing to its environment limits. With all those possibilities gone, he picks Hatchman, which is custom created for him. Thinking things through, he feels like the system is rewarding his hard work. At the same time, this class obviously limits his weapon option to merely an axe, which could be a problem later on. But he is quite confident in his talents with a hatchet, so the weapon limitation doesn't impact a pro like him. With that, he grabs the crystal and locks in his class decision. He shouts Hatchman at the crystal, and it immediately begins shining even brighter as strong gusts of wind whirl over his body. Glowing veins appear across Zack's torso, and his eyes transform into a bright yellow. A notice then pops up, verifying that the Hatchman class has been correctly selected. A flurry of system pop-ups follows shortly after, presenting new titles and stats obtained by our hero. All the meantime, the crystal continues shining furiously, and the veins of light spread deeper throughout his body. Then our guy is assaulted with a bright yellow burst of energy through his entire body, as the notifications reveal that all his skills are now actively boosting. Zack lowers to his knees, still shivering from the impact. His entire body is saturated with sweat. He grins triumphantly at becoming the first in the entire globe to acquire this class. When he examines his new metrics, he is thrilled to notice that all of them shot up tremendously. He assesses his own physique next, and sees he's acquired nearly 20 pounds of lean muscle in mere seconds. My dude flexes them like he just had a banging exercise at the gym. Cosmic energy bursts through his body. He curiously scrolls through his new skills, only to find out most of them are locked behind side quests. In this world, nothing comes without hard labor tied to it. With that, our MC grabs his hatchet tight, ready to finally show the demon suckers who they're fooling with. It is mentioned that the intrusions offer a big chance for the demons to earn wealth and power, even though the current plan was disrupted because of Ogress's defection. The sly devil utilized his authority to send smaller packs of demons through the portal instead of unleashing his complete army. Normally, nothing on the island would threaten them, as they have no knowledge Zack even exists. They still believe the two heralds probably fought each other to the death after being dispatched there. Because of Ogress's activities, the demons lost a whole month of preparation against the genuine threats to their clan. To make up for it, they sacrificed thousands of captives to please what they call the heavens. Keverin, however, is delighted with how things ended out in the end. During the scouting expeditions to find who killed the second herald, his men discovered a Nexus crystal concealed deep inside a cave. That little gem is worth thousands of times its weight in gold, enough to eclipse the lifetime fortune of many clan elders. Since his scouts spotted it, Keverin has full control over where the money from selling it will go. He plans to make sure the clan elders do not see even a single cent from it. As the sun begins to drop, Keverin is fatigued from marching all day and orders his warriors to set up camp. After that, he moves onto a mountainside with a clear view and asks his subordinate Kayla if she loves the scenery. His troops lose no time putting up a VIP table for two, only for him. After Kayla and Keverin take their seats, she looks amazed he has time for something like this in the thick of an incursion. Commander Simp chuckles and says he is never too busy for someone he truly cares about. Just then, a few bugs start buzzing about him and abruptly destroy the vibe of his little forest date, which truly annoys him off. He yells at his underling Gormor to get rid of the flies already. Gormor does not answer, and that tells him something is awry. Both Kayla and Keverin turn around at once to see what Gormor is doing. Instead, they find a jacked human with an axe hacking into the hapless soldier's back. At first they think he is simply some native from the forest, and Kayla immediately fires an arrow to take him down. However, Zack reacts swiftly, pulling a throwing knife and hurling it at her. His blade breaks the arrow clean from the point with crisp precision. Right then, Keverin figures the human is distracted and swings his greatsword. Our boy manages to block it with his hatchet, producing a powerful shockwave from the contact. Keverin tries to overwhelm him, and for the first time, he feels excited battling a person with such strength. Even then, he does not hesitate, fully convinced he can crush him like any other insect. Suddenly, Zack feels the greatsword press harder against his axe, with crushing force. While he is trapped holding it back, Meads attacks from behind without notice. He somehow dodges it by shifting the greatsword aside and diving under the demon's sling. Right after that, he throws a hard hit on Mead's chest, shattering through even the armor on his back. The crushing strike sends the poor demon flying away instantaneously. Furious, Keverin attacks again, but our boy suddenly glides behind him in a blink. Just as he is ready to strike his axe into the commander's back, a dark energy suddenly wraps around his body. The pain freezes him in place, allowing Kayla the perfect moment to shoot him from behind. Her arrow flies straight into his back before he can react. Zack remained dazed for a brief while after the abrupt strike, and Keverin takes advantage of it to land what should be the closing blow. Even so, he blocks it at the last second with his axe, which leaves the demon completely astonished on the spot. He is really shaken that such a strong mortal can exist in a universe that was launched only a month ago. Our boy takes him by the head and aims directly for the neck, oblivious of the arrow already flying right at him. When he senses it coming, he retreats just in time, and it barely grazes his face. He wipes the blood off his face and stares down his opponent, making it plain he does not plan on going away now. Seeing that, Keverin commends him on his outstanding display of strength as a simple human in this situation. Still, he openly despises his type, who are trash from another Earth, too weak to even cultivate energy, yet they still cling to their wretched existence like gnats, whose continuous buzzing slowly gets on your nerves. Keverin considers him a defier like Abarak did, abandoned dregs who persevere and achieve power through the system. He concedes that Zack has the skill to reach this far, but the one mistake he made was deciding to resist him. Keverin doesn't hold back as he throws his blade wide, but our hero goes into the matrix, bending backwards to dodge the impact. Zack then swings low as he slams his axe into the demon's chestplate. However, the weapon smoothly bounces off it, and the shockwave sends him flying backwards. Looking at the monster, he finds that he didn't even create a hole in the armor, and his strike went deflected. Keverin doesn't let up as he comes in with another swing, but our boy pulls a fast one and yeets the table at him. That catches the demon by surprise, and he is compelled to trash all the wonderful gifts he brought with him. Zack then creeps up on his blind spot and strikes his axe into the demon, sending him flying back. The NPC guard rushes towards his commander, who orders at him not to take his eyes off the enemy. But it's too late, since he chops through his neck, successfully disconnecting his head's Bluetooth link with his body. Keverin's eyes widen in disbelief, as he barely avoids the axe attack that would have slain him. He then sweeps our boy off his feet and wrestles him to the ground. Both of them get engaged in a deadlock, trying to stab each other's faces with their fingers. Seeing the hatred in the human's eyes, Keverin urges Kayla to shoot him already. He then takes out the knife that he was hiding under his waist and stabs Zack in the side. Our hero cries in anguish while the blue-haired monster taunts him, thinking that he has triumphed. Keverin tries to suffocate our hero, who slowly reaches for his axe. The demon continues to twist the knife into him while scorching him for acting so difficult earlier. Finally, Zack manages to seize his weapon and shuts him up, slamming the blade directly into his neck. The system informs him that he has leveled up, and he pushes the dead body off him. As he attempts to get up, Kayla readies another arrow and urges him not to take another step. He ignores the warning and takes a step, which gets him an arrow straight in his shoulder joint. The demoness repeats her warning again, while pulling another arrow in her bow. She says she will make him suffer, but he doesn't look the slightest bit afraid and stares at the weapon still stuck in his stomach. A few moments later, Kayla's subscription to life has been revoked, and our hero rummages amid the dead bodies for loot. While cradling his wound, he expects to grab some excellent gear, unlike the last demon who decided to kamikaze in his home base. Suddenly he pulls up a peculiar shiny pouch that weighs much more heavier than it looks. When he opens it up, he finds out that it is a dimensional storage object with literally an entire room full of goods stuffed into it. Seeing that it is largely food and furniture, he wonders if the demons were planning an invasion or a camping trip. He also stumbles upon a lot of bizarre-looking crystals and wonders what the hell they are. The system panel suddenly pops up and tells him that these are Nexus crystals that are loaded with cosmic energy. They can be absorbed slowly over time to boost levels. He finds it a bit amazing something like that exists, but he plainly senses the tremendous energy packed inside them. He suddenly recalls that one of the quests also featured these crystals as a reward, but these ones are just F grade. Sometime later, our boy is decked up in new gear, with the dimensional storage pouch hanging off his belt. With a cruel sneer, he praises the nice dead demons for their gear. Since the sword doesn't carry much worth to him, he decides to store it away instead of letting it fall into enemy hands. After that, he checks his status panel, delighted with the rate of progression of his objectives. It has been a month since the invasion started, and there are still 3 demon officials left that he has ran fades with. He then looks at his talent screen and realizes that he still has a lot more work to do until his skills level up. So far, he has slaughtered 2 of the 4 heralds, which leaves the imp and 1 other. There is also the invading general whom he has to take care of. Since he doesn't know the whereabouts of either the imp or the mystery herald, it leaves him with only one alternative, the invading general. Staring at the glaringly evident red beacon of light, he thinks it's time to deal with the big boss. Later in the demon territory, terror spreads everywhere as troops approach the gates in confusion. None of them can make sense of who this intruder is, attacking and slaying every unit they deploy to combat. After the newest squad finally reaches the main gates, their captain is left absolutely dumbfounded. He witnesses innumerable corpses of demons and creatures lying cold and lifeless right outside the entrance. Somewhere nearby, our boy is injured and fatigued from his attempt to break in. He has slaughtered over 100 demons and raised his axe mastery while doing it, but he recognizes there are far too many soldiers for him to break his way in and reach the general. At his current strength, he will get destroyed the instant he steps past the front gates. Making matters harder, it is difficult to breach the outpost, as the guards placed in every direction previously caught him once. Then there is also a patrol he spotted earlier that continues moving between the outpost and probably mining resources or doing something nasty. The biggest gang of demons, however, resides inside the fortress itself. He assumed they were NPCs at first, but he discovered after witnessing their individual personalities and interactions that they are actual humans just like him. That makes him question if they are in the same circumstances as him, forced to survive on this planet. That does not matter though. For him, they are threats on the island that is his new home, and the most efficient method to negotiate the barbarian knows is wielding his axe. He refuses to give up until he is strong enough to leave the place and look for his family again. His resolution is strong, and he will cut down the entire demon bloodline if that's what it takes. Before that though, he needs to stay realistic and think ahead. He chooses to defeat the other 2 heralds first, and then accomplish the quest by snatching Obris's head. That proves to be tough, since he fails to find the final 2 heralds for several days straight. He keeps growing his axe skill by slaughtering enemies, from the ocean at the edge of the island to the depths of any cave system he can locate. By the end of his hunt, he climbs the highest cliffs for a full view of the island. He discovers he was looking in the incorrect location the entire time. Suddenly, he spies a strange beast chilling on a tree branch out on the slope. The 2 monkeys stare at each other, both equally bewildered about what the other one is. Then out of sudden, the stony primate starts screaming out. Curious, he uses his eye of discernment and realizes it is one of the 2 remaining heralds, the stone monkey. The monkey goes wild as its eyes blaze a deep shade of orange. The ape then continues to jump off its perch and sprints towards him at top speed. Already anticipating this, he sprints towards his enemy while swinging his axe. He swiftly slices the hapless chimp into 2 halves. That improves his axe mastery and nexus points even higher. Zack assumes in his mind that these monsters always keep within their region, which is probably why he has never encountered one before. For a while, he considers heading deeper into the mountains to discover more of them, but his thoughts are cut short when violent screeches erupt all around him. He glances up toward the mountain to find more of the animals from before coming right at him. Not scared to hack down some more monkeys, he pulls out his axe to show them who's boss. While fighting the monkeys, he flashes back to everything that happened so far. At first, he was absolutely disoriented, with no understanding what was happening to his world or his family. He realizes that as he kept fighting and leveling up, things eventually started making more sense. Zack reaches a simple conclusion that all his foes are part of the forest, and he is the lumberjack whose mission is to cut it all down. During the encounter, he eventually maxes out his axe mastery. Suddenly, he gets taken into a place that feels straight out of a fairy tale. In front of him sits a gigantic castle surrounded by beautiful flora, with giant floating cities hanging in the distant sky. Confused, Our hero wonders where he is, and if this is some type of vision. In the distance, he sees legions of angels and giants clad in gold, heading right toward him. As he takes in their overpowering size and power, he suddenly sees he is not alone. Standing next to him is a bald, strong lumberjack wielding his enormous axe. The bald man inhales deeply, then raises his weapon high above his head. Bolts of electricity build around him as he swings downward, releasing tremendous purple waves of energy. The deadly shockwave entirely obliterates the army of angels. Almost if he is in a trance, our boy duplicates the motion and swings his own axe at the remaining forces. The axe smacks into the ground, and he senses both his hands and weapon are glowing with incredible strength. Later, he gets some rest at a tree above a mountain of stone monkey corpses he destroyed. The system informs him that he has obtained the heavy power of the Tao. He recalls that the Tao is a component of Eastern mythology and finds it shocking it is a genuine reality. Even though he isn't sure what exactly it is, he can feel the power pouring through him as if it is a part of him now. After gaining a glance of the Tao axe wielder, he recognizes that the weight behind his attacks was exceedingly imbalanced. He gets the sensation that his swings were average at best, and that the man in his vision possessed the proper real technique. Grabbing his axe, he imagines the weight behind his swings and slowly lets it flow into his attack. As soon as he lightly taps the earth with his axe, the terrain splits apart with ease. Even while this is significantly more than he had managed before, he still isn't pleased since the man in the vision didn't only use heaviness. There is still a lot that he doesn't grasp about the approach, but he hopes he may achieve that top someday. The system then notifies him that he is the third person so far to gain enlightenment, making him realize that there are other strong individuals out there too. Once the training concluded after the first month, it made him ponder how many true geniuses are in the world anymore. His mind starts racing, wondering if humanity has already started to recuperate while he is still imprisoned on this useless island. Our hero is irritated since he has been first all these time, and this is the first time he has slipped behind others. This gets him revved up to push even harder because strength is the only commodity that will matter in the new world. He then glances over the quest criteria and laughs, recognizing that he has been so concentrated that he didn't see his other mission is about to be accomplished. Meanwhile at the invasion base, Ogress demands to know what Kevron has done now. A soldier informs him that the blue-haired monster has dead. As the NPC reveals that it might have been the same crew that killed the other two earlier, the general barely holds in his laugh. The unfortunate soldier keeps reporting while the general hides behind his subordinate and silently laughs. In his mind, he is more than thrilled as one of the thorns in his path opted to go get himself killed. Ogress regains his calm and apologizes, blaming it on allergies from the unfamiliar surroundings. On the inside, he is a bit irritated that his loyal informant Kyla got killed too. He then instructs the soldier to dispatch troops to Cindermane and Pugo as the enemy is greater than they imagined. Regardless, he is happy and wishes that Rydell and the local fighters conflict with each other and destroy themselves. Ilver then smashes his bubble and points out that he is smiling too much again, which earns him a shut-up in return. Coming back to our hero, Zack is busy chopping wood after wood like he is playing Minecraft. With one more branch, he slashes through it and eventually completes the tedious quest. Sometime later, he climbs up a steep cliff again and comes across a troop of stone monkeys. Not scared at all, he yells at them, which promptly spurs them to rush towards him in a fit of wrath. Zack merely charges the cosmic energy inside him. As soon as the monkeys approach close, he slams the blade into the ground. The resultant blast swiftly reduces the beasts to rubble. Our boy doesn't stop there as he keeps climbing, completely persuaded that the mountains must be hiding something. He is assured of this because the higher he goes, the greater the cosmic energy grows. Even the stone monkeys keep getting stronger and walk about as if they are monitoring the area. This bizarre behavior makes it seem like the closer he climbs to the top, the smarter the creatures become. The monkeys start to move in packs, and some groups even have a leader. The leader is the biggest and strongest among them. Even still, none of them can stand a candle to our boy, as he totally wipes them out of existence. Zack continues to ascend the mountains for days on end, but still comes up empty as he cannot find the monkey herald. But all changes when he finally discovers that the herald isn't lurking at the top of the mountains. Instead, he is hidden down in the valley. As our hero falls down the mountain towards him, his eyes abruptly widen in shock. Looking over the place, he wonders what the hell happened here. Meditating in front of him is a Wukong counterfeit from Temu, who is approximately at level 60. Syndromian abruptly opens his eyes and manages to parry the attack with his hands that otherwise would have sent him to the hereafter. Zack keeps trying to drive the axe down, but the monkey herald isn't letting up that simply. His eyes start to glow yellow as he feeds cosmic energy into his axe and smacks our hero to the ground. However, Zack promptly jumps back up and retreats a few paces back. Holding his chest, he smiles while thinking that this is definitely a true herald. Even though he had nearly tripled his strength and also obtained enlightenment, a new class and skills, the monkey herald still caught his axe with ease. He states that Syndromian is far stronger than the other two nobodies he killed before. The two keep circling each other until Zack eventually takes the first move and charges forward with his axe. Syndromian raises his leg high and blasts a large stone wave straight ahead. Our hero slashes through it with ease and keeps advancing as he jumps over the spikes. He strikes his weapon at the monkey's head, but the herald simply ducks low and dodges the attack. The monster then lunges for his neck with his claws, but our boy parries the attack away and instead punches him in the face. However, the monster counters with a slash and makes Zack bleed. Blood splatters all over the area as the two continued fighting and moving all about. As our boy runs forward, the monkey suddenly jumps forward and blocks his path. That makes him realize something, and he starts grinning like a lunatic. Syndromian is actively attempting to stop him from reaching the tree, which makes him think that it must be something important. Zack then comes up with a strategy and pretends to assault the tree as he marches straight towards it. The monkey herald panics and rushes forward to intercept the strike meant for the tree with his body. Our boy becomes satisfied that his strategy worked and pulls back his axe. He swings down again, which Syndromian tries to deflect with one hand. However, the herald barely manages to hold it at bay. Zack commends his resolve to protect his home, but then pulls his hands back and prepares to attack again. He then starts to give knuckle sandwich after knuckle sandwich, gently forcing the monkey back. Seeing no way out, the herald lets out a loud scream that echoes through the mountains. Our boy starts to panic as he knows that the other monkeys must have heard it and strives to accomplish this as quickly as possible. Just then, a stone smacks against the back of his head and he is forced to withdraw. Holding his head in anguish, he laments his luck since he was so close to victory. However, if he decides to run away now, he might never get another chance to face the herald one-on-one again. But on the other hand, rushing back in would lead to definite death. The two possibilities leave him shivering with wrath as he stares at the wicked grin on Syndromian's face. In the end, he finally decides to retreat and rushes through the woodland. However, in his head he understands that he won't be able to escape easily with his current ailments and practically drained cosmic energy. The stone monkeys don't hold back as they chase him through the trees while crying out to the other apes in the neighborhood. At that time, Zack discovers a cave to his left and immediately sprints towards it. He slides to a stop once inside and glances back at the horde of stone monkeys approaching him. Our boy closes his eyes to concentrate while thinking that what he is about to do is a terribly awful idea. But if he wants to live another day and throw hands with the herald again, then he has no choice. Letting his axe hang low, he understands that he will need a lot more than a slight crack this time. With that final idea, he throws his axe down hard and creates a big rock avalanche on the stone monkeys. Meanwhile, he just stands there inside the cave, absolutely unbothered.